The more you explain, the weaker you appear. The more you react, the more power you surrender. The more you try to prove yourself, the more others see your pain. In a universe of noise, silence isn't passive, it's a strategy. When your words are twisted, when truth becomes a weapon, when your reactions fuel their entertainment, it's no longer a conversation, but a cosmic game of control. The louder you shout, the more you lose. Here's the surprising truth you need to grasp. You don't need to fight back. Shout to be heard, or explain to prove you're right. All you need is silence and time. When you stop speaking, the universe begins to work. Your silence doesn't mean stillness. It's the gravity of truth pulling everything into place. Truth has an undeniable force. It always finds its orbit. In this video, we'll explore 7 cosmic moments where a wise person chooses absolute silence, not out of fear, but from strength to protect their energy, preserve their dignity, and let the consequences of others' actions collapse under their own weight. Silence isn't the absence of words, it's the presence of mastery. Follow me to the end of this journey, because the final chapter will forever shift how you view silence. Nothing stings more than being falsely accused. Your first instinct is to defend yourself. Correct the narrative. Prove you're not what they claim. But here's the harsh reality. No one is listening. The more you explain, the more suspicious you seem, the more you seek clarity. The deeper you're pulled into their chaos. Those who spread lies aren't seeking truth. They're hunting for your reaction. They want to unbalance you, watch you falter, and use your defense as fuel for their narrative. Here's the trap. Reacting means losing. This is where Stoic wisdom draws a line in the stars. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it's not true, don't say it. If it's not right, don't do it." That's it. No pleading. No explaining. Live by your integrity, not their version of your story. Truth has something lies never will endurance. Lies spread like solar flares. Bright but fleeting. Truth takes time but needs no defense. It reveals itself like a distant star. Let me share a story. A man named James was falsely accused at his workplace. Rumors spread. Colleagues shunned him. At first, James wanted to clear his name, but instead, he chose silence and composure. He kept working, letting his actions speak. Weeks later, the truth emerged. The accuser was exposed for past manipulations. By staying silent, James preserved his dignity, standing above the noise with his integrity intact. That's the power of Stoic resolve. So, when falsely accused, what should you do? First, trust. The long game lies are loud. But truth endure. Let time do its quiet work. Second, hold fast to your values. When you know who you are, external noise can't touch you. Third, let the universe's justice speak for you. Liars often spiral in their own drama, eventually trapping themselves. Finally, silence isn't surrender. It's self-respect. You're not hiding. You're rising above pettiness and lies. Let them talk. Let them twist. And let truth return to its rightful place. Betrayal doesn't just hurt. It shifts the ground beneath you. It comes from those you trusted friends, partners, family. When betrayed, it feels like your core collapses. Your instinct is to confront, to ask, "Why did you do this?" Or demand, Do you see the damage you've caused? But the brutal truth is, betrayers have already justified their actions in their minds. They either don't see their fault or, worse, don't care. The more you seek closure, the more you reopen the wound. When someone betrays you, they crave your energy, your pain, your confusion. It's their power, proof of their importance. But what happens when you give them nothing? No anger, no revenge, just silence. They lose not just their voice, but their hold on your spirit. Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a person perfected without trials." Betrayal is friction, painful but clarifying, revealing who stays and who fades. Let me tell you about Sarah, a woman with a decade-long best friend. They shared dreams, doubts, victories. But one day, Sarah discovered her friend had betrayed her, leaking secrets and sabotaging her success out of jealousy or insecurity. At first, Sarah wanted to confront, to vent, to make her friend feel the pain. Instead, she chose silence. No fight, no noisy, just a quiet exit. Her friend expected an explosion, braced for chaos, but got only absence. That silence haunted her, heavier and louder than words. When betrayal strikes, first, accept the truth about who they are. Don't cling to the illusion you once held. That version is gone. Second, don't waste words on those who've undervalued you. They've already chosen to ignore your worth. Third, walk away without explanation, because silence forces reflection, something betrayers dodge. Finally, you're the victor. They've lost someone loyal, genuine, and rare like you. Let them live with that loss, not through punishment, but through your absence and peace. Insults are cheap. That's why the weak wield them. When someone mocks or attacks you with venomous words, they're not after truth. They want your reaction to validate their narrative. Responding, even sharply, hands them control. Instead, refuse their game. You don't need to win an argument. You win by not entering it. Marcus Aurelius said, "The best revenge is to be unlike your enemy." Read that again. When insulted, they want to drag you into their chaos, to see you lose your composure. But a wise person stays above the fray, observing calmly. Unshaken. Consider David, a man who earned a well-deserved promotion at a company event. A jealous colleague mocked him publicly. Guess anyone can climb the ladder now. All eyes turned to David, waiting for a reaction. But he didn't argue or defend himself, just met their gaze, smiled, and stayed silent. That silence didn't just win the room, it disarmed his rival, leaving them powerless in the face of his indifference. So, how do you handle insults? First, recognize what they're after, not truth, but disruption of your peace. Don't let them succeed. Second, let your calm speak for you when your face stays steady, your voice unshaken. That's a message louder than words. Third, stand firm in your worth. Confidence doesn't need debate, and dignity doesn't need explanation. By not stooping, you leave them grasping at nothing. True strength doesn't shout or show off, it's quiet. Resolute. The most powerful response to an insult is indifference. Some people don't want resolution, they crave attention. Playing the victim to control the narrative, they rewrite history, erase their role, twist facts, shed tears, and suddenly you're the villain. The more you explain, the weaker you seem. As outsiders see you attacking someone suffering, they flip the script. You're the aggressor. They're the misunderstood soul. This isn't conflict. It's theater, with you cast as the enemy. Stoic wisdom warns of this trap. Epictetus said complaining is always useless and never fitting. Victims don't complain to solve problems. They complain to gain sympathy. Defending yourself only fuels their performance. The only victory is silence. Take Rachel, a woman with a colleague who distorted reality. When held accountable, this colleague cried, deflected, and blamed others. Rachel tried reasoning, presenting evidence, calmly explaining the truth, but it backfired. In public eyes, emotion often trumps logic in prolonged disputes. Rachel chose to stop, offering no defense, just steadfast silence like a true Stoic. Over time, the truth surfaced. People noticed the colleague's pattern of sob stories, new enemies, and endless grievances. The act collapsed. So how do you deal with those playing the victim? First, don't defend yourself. They're not listening, just performing. The audience loves drama. Don't feed it. Second, keep emotional distance, observing their chaos without being pulled in. Third, trust in consequences. People may fall for their act once or twice, but not forever. Finally, you owe no clarity to those who thrive on confusion. Let them play their role, chase their script, draw their crowd. Sooner or later, the curtain falls. Silence is how you end the show. The deepest cut isn't their words, it's their indifference. You show up, give your all, care deeply, reach out, and get nothing back. Silence, apathy, neglect, no explosion, no loud betrayal, just a slow fading of your value in their eyes, your worth in their eyes. And here's the bitter truth. The more you try to prove your value, the less they see it. People don't cherish what's always there. They value what they fear losing. When you're constantly present, always reaching out, you become background noise in their universe. You're not indispensable. You're invisible. This is where Stoic wisdom restores your power. Seneca said time reveals the truth. Sometimes, the truth they need to face is your absence. Let me share Jake's story. He was the steady one, always checking in, remembering birthdays, asking about your day. But over time, he noticed no one reciprocated. If he stopped reaching out, days turned to weeks of silence. He realized he wasn't valued, just convenient. No arguments, no explanations. He simply stopped. The result, those who truly cared reached out. Those who didn't faded away. That was his answer. So, when your worth is ignored, what do? First, stop chasing. If they don't see your value when you're there, let them feel it when you're gone. Second, say nothing. Silence forces them to notice. Your absence makes your worth undeniable. Third, watch who makes the effort. The ones who matter don't need reminders. They'll sense the shift and draw closer, not drift away. Finally, you don't prove your worth by trying harder, but by creating distance. Those who deserve your energy will feel your silence. Those who don't never belonged in your orbit. Let your absence speak, echoing in the void they once overlooked. Never beg to be seen by those who've closed their eyes. Some people don't want peace. They crave your reaction. They provoke, taunt, and sling words they know will wound, not because they're bold, but because it's their only way to feel powerful. When you react, they win. When you argue, they feed off it. When your emotions flare, they know they've got you. The truth most miss is that their goal isn't conflict, it's control. They want to destabilize you, make you act on their terms. If they can provoke you, they pull the strings behind their smug grin. But Stoicism is your shield. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you'll find strength." That's the essence of self-mastery. You can't stop their provocations, but you can deny them what they want most, your reaction. Consider Adam, a man with a colleague who thrived on chaos. Every meeting brought sly jabs, veiled insults, just subtle enough to dodge blame. At first, Adam defended himself, argued, explained, but left each encounter drained. Then he shifted. The next time his colleague provoked, Adam just smiled faintly, nodded calmly, and stayed silent. No glare, no tension, just serene indifference. The colleague faltered, used to sparking fire. He didn't know what to do when the match wouldn't light. Eventually, he gave up. His toxic flames snuffed out without fuel. So how do you handle provocation first? Spot. The pattern repetition betrays their motive. If someone constantly stirs conflict, it's not personal, it's strategy. Second, hold your ground emotionally. Don't let their bait pull you off balance. You control your breath, your tone, your presence. Third, let calm be your strength. The less you waver, the more powerless they feel. Finally, not every slight deserves your energy, nor every foe your response. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest, it's the one whose silence is armor, unshaken by any taunt. Regret is loud. Du silence, écho, lude. When they overlook you, dismiss your worth. Assume you'll always be there. Then one day find you gone. That silence they ignored becomes deafening. Your presence was once their anchor, until you left. New arguments, no outbursts, just a clear departure. At first, they ignored it, but weeks turned to months with unanswered calls, and the echo of your absence grew louder than their indifference. They begged, apologized, promised change. But Olivia had already found her peace. Her silence became her freedom. So, when someone regrets losing you, what's the first step? Don't let them return easily if they overlooked your worth. Your absence must be felt. Second, resist explaining. Let them bear the weight of their actions without the comfort of closure. Third, hold your silence not from spite, but from self-respect. Finally, they had their chance and squandered it. Let them sit with that truth alone. Because your silence isn't punishment, it's wisdom. It says, you won't let anyone drift in and out of your life while expecting the door to stay open. Let them regret. Let them remember. But don't let them return. You don't owe them a second chance. You owe yourself peace. You don't need to shout to be heard, fight to win, or speak to make an impact. In a world addicted to noise, silence is a bold act. It's not weakness or surrender, but the language of those who no longer need external validation. By staying silent, you reclaim power. Step out of the trap. and let time, truth, and consequences write the story. You don't need to dot. A composed person doesn't chase approval, beg for closure, or crumble under noise. They step back and let the universe do what it does best, restore balance. So next time someone lies, betrays, insults, provokes, or regrets, don't respond. Don't explain. Don't perform. Just observe and wait. The universe's justice doesn't need your help. It only needs your silence. If this message resonates deep within you, if you find truth in these words, don't just move on. Join Think Stoic 101, where strength is silence, wisdom is sharp, and every word endures. And if you know someone who needs this message, share it with them. Spread the word, or let your silence echo and inspire.